Evening, everybody. It's Wednesday evening, another week in the UK. Hopefully, your week is going as well as it can be. I've got Charlie Mullins to speak to with tonight. Got a few questions to ask him. He's always quite to the point with his answers, so I thought it'd be a good person to get on and ask a few questions to. So, Charlie, how you doing, mate?
Good evening. Sorry, I'm still eating a sweet. Um,
Yeah,
Mark, I'm sorry for running a little bit late. I've just left a reform sort of speech where Deputy Leader Richard Tice was speaking, so I quickly came from there and got back for this interview.
no, I
So I'm
appreciate
quite
that.
excited about it.
Appreciate that. So, I was going to ask you about this. What was happening this afternoon? What was it all about then? This Tice thing. What was there anything said, or what did you take from it, mate?
Well, what I take from it, what I took from it was he was very confident, he was very relaxed, and he was talking about growth. We've got to create growth. We've got to work together. We've got to take risks, but more importantly is we've got to ask questions about why things are not going in the right direction and how we can change them. So I think it was very encouraging the way he was doing it, and I've got to be honest. My sort of faults of Richard Tice have gone up massively tonight with the way he conducted himself, the way he was talking about working together and how we can change things and we need to change things. And how they need business people over it. All the things that we know about wanting business people here, not losing them. But it was just sort of saying that the tax system is so complicated and we need to streamline things quite a lot. And can we streamline it and make things, more understandable and less red tape? And it was very encouraging. I've got to be honest with you. I mean, I was quite blown away with the way he put it across and so much of what we can do together. It was that type of
Oh,
attitude.
fantastic. Yeah, reform are the only answer, I think, at the minute. I mean, I've, I took a bit of disheart to some of the things that Nigel Farage has said, but ultimately, if we're going to get out of the mess that we're in, the only people that are in place to do that, which is to change the uni party, is reform, and that's what it's looking at the moment. Last time I spoke to you, you were going to stand for reform at Lambeth or Kingston. Is that still the case, or is that off the cards now?
Well, I missed it on this opportunity because I'm in Spain more and more. Well, I live there now, but I think it's something I may consider next year because we're another year nearer getting rid of Labour and another nearer year of getting reform in.
Do you think?
So
Do you think though? I mean, if we have to wait till 2029, um, I think what Labour are hoping to then is that they can change things around a little bit and get some more voters on board to try and take reform on. Because it's quite telling that when they're talking now, they're not talking about the Conservatives; they're talking about reform as the main party, and all the polls suggest that as well. But can we wait till 2029, Charlie? You know,
yeah, no, we
I mean,
can't. I mean, I feel there will be an early election called. I said from day one, I think when Labour got in that they'll be screaming their heads off to get out because of the problems, and unfortunately, it's looking that way. I mean, look, strange things happen out there, Mark, as you know, and I would hate to think we've got to wait till 2029, but I don't think so. Somehow, I mean,
but how though, Charlie? What's going to trigger it?
well,
Is it
I'd
going to be? Is
imagine.
it going to be unrest? Is it going to be?
Yeah, well, look, the unrest and the way they're conducting themselves, the Labour Party, with the lying, with the they're losing people left, right, and centre. They're just not going to be a strong enough team, I don't think, to carry on. And it appears that each week, each month, things are getting worse and worse with them. You've got this crazy thing now about Rachel Reeves. The more lying kind of thing. You heard a sort of pre-budget speech the other day, and she was 40 minutes talking about nothing. I
That's
mean,
what I was
we
just.
knew. Well, go on, Mark.
Sorry, Charles. I was going to ask you about that because it was quite interesting. I tuned in and watched that, and basically what she was doing was letting everybody know that she's going to shaft us at the next budget when they promised in their manifesto that it was going to be a one-off deal. that they needed to do it at that point, and it will not happen again. So, how does that sit with you? Because I think with a lot of people, it don't sit very good, and that's pissed off a lot of people.
That's right. Look, first of all, it was unnecessary to come out with what she was coming out with. I mean, I think it was to try and soften the blow for, November the 26th. But
Yeah,
if anything, it's woke a lot of people up. And now more and more people are fully aware that from the 26th of November, financially, they're all going to be worse off. And again, it's against their manifesto. It's more lies. I mean, who's ever doing their advising to them is putting them more and more in it, because it was such an unnecessary, sort of speech kind of thing. She spoke about nothing and give nobody any hope whatsoever. If anything, pre-warned us. But
that's
anybody
what
could.
it was. That's what it was, Charlie. It was just a pre-warning. That's all it was. Like
Yeah,
you said, she
it
said nothing,
was soften the
nothing
blow, Mark.
of any use. She was literally just saying, "Look, we're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that. So just prepare yourselves." That's what I got through it. Charlie, look, the UK is spending over £40 million every single week to house migrants in hotels, but there's no money for the patriots. There's no money for the British people. There's no money for the cost of living. And we're getting to the point now where unrest is likely. I don't advocate for it. I don't want people on the street rioting, but you can just feel it in the air that people are getting more and more pissed off that other people that are arriving into our country illegally are being treated a lot better than us. Charlie, I put this question to you: if you was part of the government and you was Home Secretary and you were put in charge of immigration, how are you stopping what's happening with these migrants coming over?
Yeah, look, I don't know how you stop it, but I do know that if you don't give them any handouts and benefits, they won't be coming here.
Absolutely.
They say we can't send them back, we can't do this, can't do that. I disagree with that totally. I mean, if they're, the word illegal is probably enough to say they shouldn't be here. Unless they stop that, Mark, then the UK has got no chance whatsoever of coming away from hitting rock bottom. But yes, it can be stopped. Of course, it can be stopped. I mean, stop the benefits, stops the boats, and it's getting more and more worrying to people. What's the amount that are coming over here, what it's costing, the true figure, and obviously, every day we've got this, the stabbings or the rapes or
Well, that's what comes.
robberies.
That's what comes with it, Charlie. Is that they're housing these, and they are unvetted. I see a
Of course they
whistleblower.
are.
I saw a whistleblower interview earlier where she basically said once they've been put into hotels, there's no follow-ups.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So we're spending all this money on people that are here illegally, but the left will claim that they're coming from war and persecution. They're not. They're coming from France, which is a safe place.
Look, Mark, honestly, look, I mean, I think even Stevie Wonder can see what's going on. You know what I mean? It's that obvious with these type of people. Look, nothing's happening that we're not fully aware will happen and will continue to happen. I mean, all of this was predictable, years ago by allowing them in. Unless they put a stop on it, then the UK will hit absolutely rock bottom. Will it ever be able to come back if it hits that bottom? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
If I'm being honest, of course it's worrying, and it's so unnecessary because Reeves is talking about obviously we've run out of money, ages ago. They're spending more and more money. Anybody knows in business is you've got to either bring the money in or cut your spending down.
Yeah.
Well, all they're trying to do is bring the money in, and it ain't going to work again. You've got to cut the spending. I mean, if we was to cut the spending with the illegals, migrants, allegedly sort of asylum seekers, rapists, murderers, all them type of people, if we was to get rid of them, I think we'd be a wealthy country.
Yeah. It's a massive problem, and nobody seems to be able to know how to fix it. Like you say, I'm on board with you. I'd go a step further and put the Navy in the Channel. And as soon as they get to our waters, off you go back again. They're coming here because they get fed, they get put in accommodation. In France, they're in a tent, they don't get nothing.
Yeah,
That's why they're leaving France to come here.
of course.
You moved to Marbella about 18 months ago. Um,
Yes.
what I was going to, I read that you warned of other wealthy Brits, yeah, may jump ship. So, what's your message or advice to the government to stop the exodus of high earners, investors, and entrepreneurs leaving the country?
Well, they've got to reverse, most of the tax increases that they've done or they're going to do. They've got to reverse the national insurance rise. They've got to reverse the employment laws that they're proposing to implement. I mean, if you think about it, everything that Rachel Reeves has done to increase the revenue has done the opposite effect. So she needs to go, but somebody with some common sense needs to reverse things and just encourage people to invest, encourage people to work here. People are not leaving because of the amount of tax they've got to pay. What they're leaving for is what's happening with the money, with our money. I mean, I paid in over 100 mil, and I will never pay in another penny to the UK. I will never ever work again in the UK and draw a wage. Yes, I have a company business here. I'm non-executive chairman, i.e., meaning I don't take any of the money, I don't get paid for it. But of course, the company complies with all the UK tax regulations, but they're making it harder and harder for anybody to run a business. And I'm afraid to say, after the budget, or maybe in January, so many more businesses now will decide it's no point in carrying on.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing. If I was a business owner and was wealthy, I wouldn't want my money. I wouldn't want my taxes going to where they're going at the minute, because our
That's it.
taxes are only going, they're only going one place anyway, and we're not feeling the benefit of any of it. If you're watching, you want to ask Charlie a question, just let me know. Charlene, thank you. I'm good. I hope you're well too, Charlene. You've called when Brexit happened, you were opposed to Brexit. Yeah. If that same situation had come around right now, knowing what you know, would you still be opposed to Brexit, or would you be for Brexit?
No, I'll be totally opposed to it.
Right.
We're going along with it. I still don't know of any benefits that we've got by leaving the EU. I don't know of any benefits. I can't recognise any of them. All I can recognise is, we're attracting less workers from the EU. We're things have become more expensive that we're buying from the EU. The waiting time is longer. Honestly, I don't see a benefit from a business point of view whatsoever by leaving the EU. We're going along with it, and we have to accept the result, but it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, I understand that. I do think that Brexit wasn't implemented properly at the time. The voters that voted for Brexit didn't get what they said they were going to get. I think that's part of it. But I mean, you've been firm on your position about it, and I applaud you for that. Really. Hold on, I think we've lost you, mate. I don't know what's happened to your phone. Maybe he doesn't want to talk to me about Brexit. Maybe I've hit a nerve there, Charlie. Come back on and let me know. Listen, I'll keep it going for a bit. I know he had problems when we first tried to get on. It's gone. I might have pissed him off about Brexit. I've got to ask the questions though, haven't you? Look, if you're watching this, I'm going to be doing these videos now. I'm going to try and get as many people on as I can to talk about the state of the UK, because I think it's quite important that we talk about this, and people need to come together at some point and figure out what the hell's going on. Let's just get Charlie back.
Yeah, got you
Charlie,
back, Mark. I'm sorry about that. It's
I thought I pissed you off for asking you about Brexit.
no. Look, nothing will piss me off. We've all got an opinion, and I respect many people's opinion. But I'm afraid to say that the Brexit I don't think was the right move. The right move of allowing in all the illegals is incorrect. Wasting all their money on foreign aid and other people's wars. It's just so wrong. We need to start looking after our own people, spending money where it's needed, rather than giving it to, all these other sort of foreigners kind of thing. It's just, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying anything, Mark, that most people are not thinking. I get accused of being a racist.
Oh, every
I
day,
couldn't
every
care,
day.
Mark, I could not care less if these people on the boats were Eskimos. I don't
Mm,
want to pay for them, and
yeah.
nor should any other people that work or live in the UK.
Yeah. I want to talk to you, Charlie, about free speech. Firstly, I'll just ask you straight out, do you believe that we still have free speech in the UK?
Definitely not. No,
Yeah. Okay.
definitely
Me
not
too.
have free speech, because what it's like, Mark, and probably every other day I'll get some pest on my case because I said this, because I said that. It is. I mean, it should be free speech. The answer is no. We don't have free speech no more.
I was going to say, because you and I have both had issues around free speech. So obviously, I was jailed last year after Southport, and the Honours Forfeiture Committee attempted to strip you of your OBE about a post that you said about Sadiq Khan. Now, the government are putting in bills around digital ID. So I want to get your thoughts on digital ID, whether you think that's a good idea or whether that's just the next stage of the draconian measures that they're putting the public through. So digital ID, Charlie, would you be for it, against it?
I'm against it for British people, people that already live here and entitled to be here, because we've already got our ID with our national insurance and our workplace, or even if people are unfortunately on benefits. So we've already got that, but I'm fully on board it for anybody that comes into this country that was not born here, whether you be a legal migrant or whether you be illegal or a so-called fake asylum seeker. Then people should be made to have the ID and to be made carrying it with them all the time. But the British people, I think, it's an invasion of our privacy. They let them roam the streets, and they don't even have a passport. So bring it
Yeah.
in for them people, but not for the people that was born in the UK.
You've just hit the nail on the head there now, because I think they're being quite clever with this by saying that we can keep an eye on the people that are coming in. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. It might be part of it, but everything that I see every week looks more and more like they are trying to silence people. They're trying to control every single aspect of our life. I've taken my boy out of school. We homeschool him now because I don't feel that schools are safe anymore. And
Mm.
some of the shit that they're teaching them in school about daddy can have a baby and taking them to mosques and stuff like that just really doesn't sit well with me. And my boy's school was a Christian school that we looked and searched for them, and they've gone so woke, and they've bowed down to what the government want them to teach. You'd be shocked, Charlie, at what they're trying to teach our kids, and it's all about sowing seeds in people's mind to control moving forward. Am I being over the top with this, Charlie, or do you think that this is happening? Because you've got to look at digital ID now. They're looking at banning VPNs, because a lot of people use VPNs, so the people don't have their location and stuff.
Mm.
Everything they seem to do just be pointing into one way of controlling us all. Am I being over the top, or do you think I'm right on some of it?
Oh, you're 100% right. You're standing up for what many of us, or millions of us, believe is incorrect way that they're treating us. They're treating us like crooks. They're treating us like peasants. They're treating us uh, like slaves.
Yeah,
You do this, you do that. So you're not over the top, Mark. Look, if I could say a tenth of what I want to say about them, I'd never come out of prison again.
yeah.
Well, I've never been in prison, but I would never come out, because it's absolute
But this
rubbish
is the
what they're
thing,
doing.
Charlie. This is the thing. We should be able to say exactly what we're thinking without having a knock at the door from coppers saying that you've said this and that. As long as it, I mean, I was arrested last year, and they in court they had 110 posts of mine where they were trying to jail me on them. But the charge that they charged me with was for inciting racial hatred, and not one of those posts called for anything to be done to anybody. It was just my opinion on things, and it could have gone a totally different way for me. I could have got 4 years because I went not guilty. But
Yeah,
ultimately, it was just my opinion on that. And I made this point in court because I went up to the stand and I said, look, everything that you've got is my opinion. Some of you ain't going to like it. Yeah. Some of you might think I'm fucking such a, I'm an horrible cunt, but it's my opinion. And luckily, I had a jury that was sensible,
sure.
I was acquitted. But putting somebody through what I went through, because I did spend some time in jail, and then I was out on tag. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. I wasn't allowed to use social media, just for having a strong opinion. But you know what, Charlie? Since I've come out of jail, it's not made me shrink into the background. It's actually given me a fire to fucking go on and on and on. Because if people like me and people like you don't keep talking about the absolute atrocities and the shit show that we're currently in, then we're lost. Because once people lose their voice, we're in big
Oh,
trouble.
honestly, look, you're so right, and you know how vocal I am on things, and everything you've said, I'll agree with you. I say it myself. There's so much I can say, and I don't have a problem saying it, but unfortunately, we don't necessarily want to knock on the door. I mean, I want to know once I'm in Spain, can I say what I want to say and they can't touch me? Because if I can, I'll be saying exactly what you're saying and a lot more.
Yeah, yeah,
Of course, with the schools, it's wrong. Of course it's wrong. I mean, of course it's wrong about, how they're like treating the British and allowing, the foreigners and the Muslims. And it's not racist. This is the fact. I mean, with some busybody woman on X the other day, I said something about, oh, or no, somebody else had put up there, another murder, and another brown person's done it, and this woman said, "Well, you're out of order saying that." She said, "You wouldn't say if it was a white person that done it." Well, what this person is saying, it's a fact. It is a brown person that done the murder. It is the
yeah.
brown people that are raping and
This
robbing
this is the
and
thing,
doing
Charlie.
everything.
This is the thing that the left always latch onto, because we're posting about Muslims after our kids, raping, grooming gangs, and all that kind of thing. They think that we're that racist because that's all we talk about. Now, let me tell you, if it was a group of white men doing exactly the same thing, I'll call them out
You say the
exactly,
same. Of course you would,
exactly.
Mark. And
A
look, it's to
paedophile is a
say
paedophile.
they hit us with the word racist, which is, look, as soon as they use the racist card, they've lost, they're lying, they got no proper, it's like name calling. They're not really going on about what's right and wrong. Their only get out of jail card is the racist card. And I'm getting it called all the time, and I don't have an issue with them. As I say, if there was Eskimos and murdering people, then I'd be saying the same. If they was English people murdering people, the same. The grooming gangs, which Khan, I believe, should be held responsible and should be prosecuted and should spend the rest of his life in prison. And people say to me, Charlie, you've already, found him guilty without a trial. Well, he's all, we heard the interview with Susan Hall. They say there's been 9,000 reported cases of sexual grooming, rapists by the grooming gang, and he quite blatantly said, "I don't know what you're talking about." So he's withholding. What would you say? He's withholding sort of criminal
I feel,
details.
I'll put my side on it because it'll probably be a bit stronger than what you're prepared to say. I feel that he's looked after his own. It's all come out
Of
recently
course it
that
is.
he knew about these grooming gangs and he did fuck all about it. How
Mark,
this
like, you're
guy
so
is in
right.
charge of our capital city is beyond me. When knife crime is through the roof, grooming gangs are active without punishment. How is he still in his position?
Well, look. To be honest, look, I make it 1,000,000 to 1 that he'll go. That's 1,000,000 to 1 because he has to go. I mean, the lies that he's told, the protection of people. And if you think about it, Mark, there may have been many of these young girls, women, may not have actually gone through this ordeal if he would have opened his mouth up when he knew about it. But no,
Yeah,
he decided not to. So to me, he's as big a criminal as the grooming people. For me, he's exactly the same. But if it was left to me, I would remove him from there tomorrow, and I would put him in prison for the rest of his life. That's how strong I feel about it, and I couldn't care less if they bar me or next. I couldn't care less if they want to take my OBE away again. I really could not care less no more.
No, Charlie,
But
you're speaking truths. You're speaking what the majority of people think. Do you know? It makes me so sad that as a country, we've got all this grooming gangs going on, and our children, our females, are just not safe in the country anymore.
well,
And
that's it, Mark. And why should we have to stand back and put up with it? I mean, look, you said you're probably certain things you're not prepared to say in the manner you're saying it. Look, we're speaking the same language. I've heard you swear a little bit on your program. If swearing is allowed, then Khan is a no good cunt.
yeah, no, you're right.
And
Yeah,
Starmer and Reeves, they're all the same people. They're pathetic people. They're absolutely pathetic. And I don't wish anything to happen to them other than all go into prison. But we've allowed
absolutely.
them people to destroy our country. And as you know, let me get this one right. Empires are run by emperors. Kingdoms are run by kings. And our country is run by cunts.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Let me just read a couple of the messages out. Charlene, he says, no one is safe. I'm sure we all feel like sitting ducks, especially after the train attack, which I will talk to you shortly about the train attack. John has joined us. Hi, Shalina says, we don't want digital IB at all. And she also said, sorry, Charlie, I'm Irish and I'm here legally. I don't want a digital ID, which is fair enough. Let me just talk to you.
What? Sorry?
Digital ID.
Look. Probably I've said that wrong. What I mean is, people that, if it's all part of England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, of course we're all okay. So I put that wrong. I'm talking about the proper foreigners that come over here and, we ain't got a clue what that. All we know is their name is either Abdul or Mohammed.
Yeah. Let me speak to you about this train attack. Now, I was quite vocal about this on X, and then obviously I got a lot of heat from the left saying you're going to prison for basically what I said. So I'll tell you what I said. If you haven't seen it, I called it a terror attack. Yeah, it was a terror attack.
Yeah.
But then the guy's name comes out that he's born and bred in London. Now, what will never come out about that attacker, because the government will not allow it, is what his beliefs are, what his background is. They've just gone straight for the mental health. I actually put a post up saying, have they said about mental health yet? And then literally an hour later, they posted that he's got a history of mental health. Now, I'm telling you, and I'm telling everybody that's watching, that if you were on that train, you would have been terrified. So, it's a terror attack. It doesn't matter. If he's a devout Christian and he's stabbing people, I'd call it out for what it is. Yeah, but my information said that he was doing it and he was shouting about Alan's snack bar.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what that is or anything like that, but that's what he was shouting. And then reports came out that was the case. But because we're saying it and because I'm saying it, we're then bombarded and you're going to prison because you shouldn't have said that. It wasn't a terror attack. Of course it was a terror attack. I just want to get your thoughts on it first. I mean, I'm doing the talking here, but
Mark,
get your thing of it. And he's gone again. I mean, it's quite important that we talk about this train attack, because I think I'm right when I say we will never, ever find out what his beliefs were, what his past is. They're quite happy that the mental health card is being used. But what we should never forget is that did not need to happen, because there was so many missed opportunities to arrest this guy, get him any help that he needed. I can hear you, Charlie. Don't say too much. I can hear you, but I can't see you. Get him the help that he needed. And we were failed by the authorities. They had an opportunity to jail him before he was able to do that. And then we go back to Southport. The missed opportunities were that evil prick that killed 3 of our beautiful children. Missed opportunities before that. And it makes you wonder exactly what the hell's going on. What is the hell is going on? Wait there, Charlie. I'll get you back in, mate. So I just carried on talking. You're all right, mate. You're right. I just carried on talking. I'm just saying that it's important.
I don't know what's gone wrong here.
You can't hear me at the minute. Are you on mute, mate?
See those.
No, you've got
edit names. Stop. Oh God.
Can you not hear me? Right, it's gone again. We'll try and get it right. If not, we'll leave it there. But it's important that we do talk about this thing, and you should never be silent. Charlene asked the question, am I going to try and get the people that were arrested last year onto a big... Yeah, I'm going to try and do that 100%. I've got lines to most people, and there's other people that have come forward in my DMs that were arrested that I didn't know about. So it could be a good show, a good hour and a half show where people are telling their stories. And I think once you get everybody's account of what happened, you will get the full picture of exactly what went down after Southport. And it's not what people believe it is. I'm pretty certain there was coercion, there was bullying, if you like. There was pressure to say certain things and do certain things. And it worked because the riots stopped pretty quickly after they saw people being carted off to prison. So yes, I am going to do that. Let's just see if Charlie comes back. I've got 4 lots of Charlie here, but no screen. I'm going to do a podcast around schools as well, school safety. Are our children safe at school? I didn't think mine was, so I took him out. And I've been sent a lot of stuff by a lot of people about a lot of incidents and a lot of lockdowns that have happened in schools up and down the country. Charlie's struggling a little bit here. I'll give him another minute or two, and if not, then I will leave it be. Let me read some of these messages out while you're here. So Maddie said, terror attack is generally defined as the calculated use of a threat or serious violence against people. I agree, Maddie. In my opinion, it was a terror attack. Right, Charlie, can you hear me? Now you're on mute. Just bear with me a second. Charlie, I can't hear you, mate. Can you hear me? I do love Charlie. Come on, Charlie, get on with it. Let me remove him. He can hear me, I think, but I can't. I can't hear him. Yeah, he's good fun. It's good fun, is that Charlie? Let me just see. We are the highest country for arrest for social media posts. Yes, we are. I mean, it's mind-boggling that we're even considered in that vein. Right, can you hear me? Well, God, this is bad, isn't it? Let me get it out of there. Right, Charlie, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're back. We're back.
Oh, right.
Don't touch that phone. Don't touch the phone. Right, we're talking about the train attack. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. You heard what I had to say. What's your position on it?
Well, again, you use the term terror attack. I'll agree with it. Well, I mean, it's I don't know. I'm lost for words in the sense of what's gone on, and it will continue to go on. And evidently, the police had an opportunity to arrest this guy. I think a few hours before. It's actually, I mean, we've got to do something very quickly. Even stop these people getting on the trains. I mean, they've got to be able to do something. I mean, they stick out like a sore thumb. Let's be fair; they're not difficult to spot them, and they just seem to be happening all the time. I mean, I would never travel on public transport anyhow, and I feel sorry for the people that got to it, and this will just continue. It will continue and continue. I just wouldn't let them on the train. I've got to be honest with you. If they didn't, I would make everyone show their passport, right? And this lot ain't got a passport. Well, they say he might have, but it's so wrong. And again, Mark, as you say, you're frightened to be able to, not frightened, but we're not allowed to speak the truth. I'll be honest with you. I'll bring back the death penalty, and the offence that these people are committing, going around stabbing people, I would bring back the death penalty for them. Because
the thing is, Charlie, I was just speaking to the people that were watching while you were sorting yourself out. It's the missed opportunities before we got to that point, because there were he went into a barber shop with a knife. He was talking all stupid. Police were aware of him, but he was left to go and do what he did. And then we go back to Southport, and then when it all comes out about Rudy Cabana, that there was missed opportunities with him as well, and all these missed opportunities by our authorities. I mean, what are they actually doing? Because when the crux of it happen and these things happen and it all comes out, they should all get the sack. You know, how was he left to go and kill 3 of our children, and how was he allowed on a train to stab 10 people? It's just ridiculous. And
yeah, look, Mark, so right, and we've got to come up with a system that we don't allow these people to. How would you say? You know, if they're dangerous people, you know, if they're known, then we've got to somehow stop them, you know, getting involved with the public. I mean, basically, they should be tagged if there's some form of danger, or they haven't got a passport, or they've got some issue or record. They need to be tagged, and you know, not to be able to go, you know, a certain radius from their homes. I know it sounds stupid because it can still happen near their homes, but these people seem to be able to go anywhere, and anything can happen with them. You know, personally, I would either they've got to stay in their own home, or they've got to go to prison.
Just today, Charlie, there was a nutter that drove his car into people in France.
I'm not proud of that, but it was there. Oh.
Yeah, that happened earlier. He was shouting the same phrase, which we're getting quite a bit at the moment. I'm prepared to stick my head above the parapet and say that the West is under attack, and that we have got a lot of sleeping agents here ready to cause chaos. And I'm talking about the unvetted illegal immigrants. And I know that my followers, in fact, are of the same opinion. What's your opinion?
Mark, I'm agreeing with you. I don't have to repeat what you're saying, because I totally agree with you. I mean, it's all planned, it's all set up, and you know, how much longer are we going to tolerate it before there's civil unrest? I mean, the quicker they get the army on the streets and stop these people roaming around and capture them, and you know, put them in these army bases. You know what's annoying me, Mark? We've had these army bases, and obviously soldiers have been there living in the past, but all of a sudden you put these 2 bob migrants in there and they have a problem with asbestos. You know, like the problem's been there, but why did they not find it years ago? And you know, that I said years ago that you need to put all these what would you call them, illegals, fake asylum seekers, migrants, hostages, killers, murderers. You need to put them in the empty army bases or airfield bases, and don't let them out of there. Don't let them out. And you know, I would only let them out to send them back. I mean, there's one way to resolve the problem, and that is not allow any more in and get rid of the ones that are here. That solves the problem. If we don't do that, then unfortunately, I don't see a future for the UK.
It's quite funny you mentioned the army, because literally about 2 hours ago, I put a post up saying, would you get behind a military coup? Just out of jest, really, but with some like thought process to it. And it's gone a bit mad with people saying yes, but then you're also getting the same people saying, oh, you're going to prison for saying what I said. But what I said was, would you if it happened? Yeah. It's amazing how people, you know, twist your words to things.
Well, you know yourself, Mark, unfortunately, I don't like people that are prepared to speak up and say the truth and say it as it is. I mean, as I say, I don't have a problem with saying anything. I don't have a problem with old Bill knocking on the door. If I'm going to be banged up, I'll be banged up. But nothing will change my mind about these no good bastards. Nothing will change my mind about it. Are they all like it? 99%. You know, they're not coming here for any other reason other than ponce off the country and to fight the war that they're going to declare on the Brits.
Absolutely, mate. Charlie, listen, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for joining me again. I really do enjoy speaking to you, and thank you for being so forthright with your opinions and being prepared to actually put your head above the parapet and say what people are too scared to say. So I really thank you for that.
Mark, go on, sorry, fella.
No, go on, carry on.
Just saying, I apologise if if there's some people that are upset. But there's always.
Don't apologise, Charlie. That's the thing. I never apologise for anything I say. If people get offended by it, that's on them. That's on them.
What I'm trying to say is, for the ones that I haven't upset, there's always the next interview.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I sent you a message earlier. If you got, can you give my number to Richard Tice, because I'm sure my viewers would like me to interview him and all. But Charlie, thanks again, mate. I appreciate it. I love having you on, mate. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks a lot, I'm just sorry that it's been a rushy day, but it's great to be able to say what we really think. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, cheers, mate. Yeah, I'd love that interview with Richard Tice. I'm going to see if I can get Charlie to get me that interview, and we'll get Richard Tice on if we can. But coming up on this channel, I will be doing the trying to get everybody that was arrested for Southport all together on one big day. I'm sure that will get a lot of interest. I'm going to do about school safety, are our children safe, and I've also got some details of what's going on inside of our prisons. I get sent a lot of stuff. So if you're watching this and there's stuff that you would like me to talk about where there's no platform for you to do it, or you want to use my platform, then please do. I'll look at anything because I'll try and use my platform for good, for speaking the truths, etc. So thanks for listening. I'll be back soon, and